So, we all know that due to production hiccups, everything is crazy overpriced because dealerships don't have enough stock of new vehicles to keep up with the demand. Well, this three-row crossover is so popular that even before all the craziness that's going on right now, Hyundai had a tough time keeping it on the showroom floor. I'm Omar, and this is the 2023 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy, the most expensive one. So yeah, I'm balling out of control today in a Palisade. Let's go. Just stuck in some morning traffic for no apparent reason. I'm sure it happens in your town too. But yeah, the Hyundai Palisade and the Kia Telluride are the two brands' biggest success stories in recent years. And ever since these two took on the three-row crossover segment, they've been totally killing it. So much so that I can drop videos on an Audi R8, a Porsche Taycan, a Jaguar F-Type R around the same time as this Palisade video, and this video will end up being the more successful one. Now that can totally mean that I completely suck at YouTube, but that my thumbnail game is so weak that you're like, I don't even want to click on that. But what it really means is that the Palisade is more popular and more attainable, and people just search for it more than those other cool cars that I just mentioned. But moving on, it may seem like that we've been waiting for Hyundai to update the Palisade for quite some time now, but this thing has only been out for like 3.5 years. That said, for 2023, Hyundai has made some upgrades and changes to this three-row SUV. Nonetheless, you still have the same engine, you still have the option of getting it with front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and pricing still starts around $35,000 for the base Palisade SE and goes all the way up to around $49,000 for the fully loaded, luxurious calligraphy trim that I'm testing here. So are the mid-cycle refresh upgrades enough to keep the excitement around the Palisade going? Let's find out. Let me give you a quick tour of the new Palisade, and then I'll give you my opinion on whether or not if this is still one of the best three-row family SUVs that you should consider buying. Make sure you hit like, and when you're done watching this video, maybe go check out those other videos that nobody really clicks on. All right, let's do this. All right, so let's kick it off by talking about what's new for the Palisade for 2023, and let's start off with the outside. The most significant change to the exterior design comes right up front with the larger version of Hyundai's signature cascading grille. This new look brings it closer to the look of the new Tucson and the Santa Fe, but unlike the Tucson where the outer section of the grille incorporates daytime running lights, the Palisade does not. In fact, this portion of the grille is the only section that has any actual lighting, and that will be for the turn signals. You still have the vertical daytime running lights right here, and for 2023, Hyundai just changed the position to the outside of the headlamps instead of the inside. The good news for 2023 is that all Palisade trims get LED headlamps as standard. But yeah, I gotta say, I really like the updates that Hyundai has made to the front end of the Palisade. It gives it a more rugged and elegant appeal. Other than that, on the outside you have some additional wheel designs. I personally really like the blacked out wheels on the XRT, which is a more rugged looking version of the Palisade. The wheels right here are 20-inch wheels exclusive to the calligraphy trim that I'm testing. But yeah, other than that, this is still pretty much the Palisade we all know. There have been some nip tucks and touch-ups done here and there, on the side, on the back, but not anything that really stands out. The only thing is that the top of the line calligraphy trim that I'm testing here, that starts at $49,200, has no way of letting people know that it's the most special one. There are no calligraphy badges anywhere on the outside or the inside. If I was going for the most expensive trim, I'd want people to know that I'm ballin' in a Palisade. Let me know if you agree with me or if I'm just completely shallow. Really, the only way to tell that this is a calligraphy trim is by the LED taillights and the rear view mirror camera located right here. Actually, now that I think about it, the new design updates to the Palisade are very similar to the Hyundai Grandmaster concept that this is based on. That concept was very stylish. Now, once you get inside the 2023 Palisade, everything will still feel pretty familiar to you. But once you start taking a little bit of a closer look, you'll notice some of the changes that Hyundai has made. First up, for 2023, all models come standard with a 12-inch touchscreen display for the infotainment system. It features updated graphics that bring it closer to the look and feel of newer Hyundai models. You get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. However, they are a wired connection, so no wireless here. Personally, I always hook up a wired connection over wireless anyway because I like my phone to charge faster than it does in a wireless charger. All trims of the Palisade also get Hyundai's native navigation system as standard, but yeah, overall the system is very easy to use, it's very quick and simple, so the learning curve is not out of this world. Now, since this is a family vehicle, you do have some useful features like the passenger talk intercom system that makes it easier for you to talk to the passengers sitting in the third row. And you also have the rear seat quiet mode, which will move all the media sound to the front so the rear passengers can get some rest. And while we're here, let's talk about driver assist tech. All trims of the Palisade get adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and lane follow assist as standard for 2023. The only difference that you'll notice is that with the Limited and the Calligraphy, you get highway driving assist 2 as standard, which will give you the ability to automatically change lanes. Keep in mind you can add that on as an option on the SEL trim. The other trims make do with highway driving assist 1. The Limited and the Calligraphy also get a 360 view and a surround view camera that will allow you to circle around your Palisade and see how bad of a parking job you did. Those two trims also get this digital rear view camera and a heads-up display as standard, as well as a blind spot view monitor in the gauge cluster. I love that, by the way. And again, those are also available as an option on the SEL, but not on the other trims. Also for 2023, the Palisade gets a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, which again is only available on the Limited and Calligraphy as standard, and you can get it as an option on the SEL. All other trims get an analog gauge cluster with a 4.2-inch display right in the middle. But yeah, other than that, the 2023 Palisade also gets the new Hyundai steering wheel, which I really like the design of, and I know it's a bit controversial, but I think it's great to hold. And then if you look closely, the buttons right here in the center are now just matte black instead of a silver aluminum finish that you had on the outgoing model. Also, the climate section here is actually a touchscreen display, which I'm not sure if it's standard on all trims of the Palisade, but it's a nice touch. Besides that, most of this area is still pretty much the same as the outgoing model, where you have your push button gear selector and your dial drive mode selector, with your heated and cooled seat buttons right below that. Speaking of which, heated front seats are standard on the SEL trims and above. Ventilated front seats are standard on the Limited and the Calligraphy and only available as an option on the SEL, and the same goes for the heated steering wheel. Alright, so let's check out the second and third row, which is what a lot of shoppers in this segment really care about. Hop in the second row, and you're working with 42.4 inches of legroom back here. I'm about 6 foot tall. That's my seating position. As you can see, I have a solid amount of room, and you can also slide the second row forward and back if you want to share some space with the third row passengers. As for the seating layout in the second row, SEL trims and above all get captain chairs, but the base SE model gets a second row bench. Nonetheless, you can swap out the captain chairs on the SEL for a bench if you want. In terms of other comfort, you get heated and cooled seats in the second row as standard on the Limited and the Calligraphy models, and again, they are available as an option on the SEL. And second row HVAC controls are only available on the SEL trims and above. Oh, and by the way, if you go for the top of the line Calligraphy trim like I'm testing here, you'll get second row wing out headrest, which will remind you of sitting on an airline. That's pretty nice. Now, getting in the third row is very easy. You have a one-touch operation. You could just push this button right down here, or you could just push this button right up here so you don't have to bend down, and the second row will slide forward, giving you access to get into the third row. Once you get back here, you have 31.4 inches of legroom. It's not bad for short trips, but if you're on the taller side, you might have some difficulty sitting back here. But the coolest part is that you actually have a reclining third row and a heated third row, which you don't see that often in this segment. Oh, and I totally forgot to mention that you can get this dual panel sunroof action as standard on the Limited and Calligraphy. Other than that, you can only get a front sunroof on the SEL as a part of the premium package. And if you go for the Calligraphy, you get a nice suede headliner, which is really, really nice to touch. As for cargo capacity, you can pop open the trunk by using a button located right under the H, or you can use your smart tailgate. Just hold your keys really close and it will pop open. It does take longer than just pushing a button, but once you get it open, you have 18 cubic feet behind the third row. With the third row folded, you have 46 cubic feet, and with both rows folded, you have 86 cubic feet. And besides that, you do have a set of buttons right here in the cargo area on the left side to fold down the third and second row. To fold down the third row, you just hit these two buttons right here, and it's a one push operation, and they are automated, and they take a few seconds to go down, but they do eventually go down. The second row, though, is a manual release, so you can put them down quickly from back here, but you can't put them up. But the third row, you can put back up from right here, but again, it takes a few seconds. I would probably rather have manual releases, but that's just me. All right, so before I give you my opinion on whether or not if the Palisade is still one of the best family crossovers in this segment, let me point out a few important daily ownership highlights that I'll have to show all of you. You have 8 cup holders. You have 2 in the front, and they still do that cool hugging thing. In this second row, you have 2 in each of the doors, 2 right here and 2 over there. And then third row passengers have 2 on each side. Here are what the keys look like to the new Palisade. You do have a digital key that you can use, but you can use these keys to use Smart Park. Come on, Palisade, let's go. We're ghost riding this whip. Door close sound from the outside, and the inside, solid, Charging game-wise, in the front you have a USB-A port and a wireless charger right next to the cup holders. You've got a USB-C port in the center armrest. You also have a USB-C port in the storage area under the center console. Second row passengers get a USB-C port on the back of each front seat. And third row passengers also have two USB-C ports on each side. Let's do an indicator and horn sound test. Indicator first. Same old Hyundai indicator. Now for the horn sound. Oh yeah, that's solid, kind of short. You really have to push it in. So besides all the changes that we just went over, one of the other things that Hyundai didn't change is what's under the hood. You still have a 3.8 liter V6 making 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. There is no hybrid or plug-in hybrid Palisade. And I get it, even though we may think that there's some huge demand for some sort of electrification in cars these days, most of the shoppers in this segment just want a good old V6. They want enough power for their long road trips, to do their weekend grocery shopping, family activities, and once in a while maybe even tow something. And the Palisade with its V6 is great for that. You still have the 8-speed automatic transmission that shifts so smoothly you can barely feel the gear changes, and the ride quality is just as smooth as it was before. It handles bumps and imperfections on the road with a lot of ease, almost to the point where you feel like you're driving a luxury SUV instead of a mainstream one. And I gotta say, this interior is really well built for this price segment. There's a very solid use of high quality materials throughout this cabin. It's definitely been a while since I was inside a Palisade, and I really forgot how comfortable this SUV is. This is definitely one of the most comfortable in this segment. Speaking of the 3-row SUV segment, the Palisade's competition continues to be the Toyota Highlander, the Honda Pilot, the Ford Explorer, the Mazda CX-9, the Nissan Pathfinder, and its cousin, the Kia Telluride. And honestly, if you line them up side by side, the Palisade and the Telluride really do stick out as two of the best options. Now, granted, I am driving the top-of-the-line Calligraphy trim with all the bells and whistles, but when was the last time that you were in an SUV that had heated and cooled second-row seats and a heated third row? I can't even name some luxury SUVs that offer those features. My test model here even has a massage function only for the driver's seat, and this time around I discovered something new called lumbar stabilization system. It's basically a massager activity function that the Palisade turns on every 30 to 60 minutes of you driving to reduce pressure on the spine or get rid of some back discomfort. Again, there are luxury SUVs out there that don't have these things. That said, everything about the ride quality of the Palisade is a positive for me. There's not much harsh road noise coming into the cabin. The suspension is nice and smooth, and you have enough power to go from 0 to 60 in like 6.87 seconds. And if you need to take over somebody on the highway, you just pop it in sport mode. Oh, and the seat side bolsters hug you tight. I didn't know that happened. That's pretty cool. And you're good to go. Sport mode, it moves pretty quick. As for fuel economy, you're working with 19 miles per gallon city and 25 miles per gallon highway. I'm averaging, after a few days of suburban driving, a total of 19.2 miles a gallon. So, not that bad. That said, if you're in the market for a 3-row family SUV, the Palisade is still an outstanding option. Even with the minimal upgrades that have been made for 2023, this is still one of the most well-made and luxurious options that you have. I personally think that the Kia Telluride is still a little better looking than the Palisade, so if I were to buy one of these two, I would probably go for that one, but that's just me. Let me know what you would do in the comments below. Either way, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you follow me on Instagram and on Tickety Talk. My handle is @OmarDrives. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace. Now, if Hyundai kept the name of the Palisade the Grandmaster as they did with the concept, I would probably go for the Palisade and get a license plate in the back that said Grandmaster Flex, or a bumper sticker, because I don't know if Grandmaster Flex would fit in a license plate, but I would do that. Then I'd get the Palisade if it was called the Grandmaster. Just the family man driving his family SUV, sport mode. It overtakes other cars on the highway very nicely. There's your test for that. I just took over a plumber.